This is the raw hickory stave that I shaped, and we're going to fire harden later today. And you can see I ran a center string, and the string favors, as we're looking at it, the right side, and that's going to be the side where the shelf's going to be. And that designates that that will be the top limb. Oh, Shadow wanted to say hello. Shadow, you're always in the way, man. I've been having some problems getting good staves to make self bows out of. And there's a lot of guys out there that'll rip you off. One guy collected a bunch of money from a lot of people, including me, $240 for an Osage stave. And I guess when he got enough money, that was it. He just took the money and ran. So a friend, Jack Monty, his neighbor Bobby cut down a hickory tree, and there was nice big two logs, two big main beams of the tree. One had a lot of knots we didn't use, and one was beautiful. So between the three of us, we wound up splitting that main log into in half, and then two other halves. And then when I got it to my house, I did a lot of work, and I cut them up into smaller staves. And this particular stave was twisted. And I said, I'm going to shape it and put it on the back set jig, clamp it for a couple days, put it out on the sun, in the sun, and I used the heat gun to heat treat it, and I got it kind of straightened out. So I'm learning. I did this, I started making bows in December, and I'm addicted. It's absolutely crazy how addicting it is. I love it, but if you know, I always tinkered, I was always into woodworking, mechanics, different things. So there's two incredible videos that I watched. Keith Shannon Outdoors, Dad Beckham Outdoors, and they talk about fire hardening. And you know, the idea is a lot of people say, oh, you have to let these staves, you know, the logs, once you split them and get them shaped smaller pieces, you have to let them sit for like a year minimum, sometimes 2 years. Hey, I'm 65 years old. Every day I wake up is a good day. I don't know if I'm gonna wake up in 2 years to make a bow, all right? I'm at the end game here, you know what I'm saying? So watching the two videos from Shannon Outdoors and Beckham Outdoors, and they talk about fire hardening. They talk about heat treating, and they talk about fire hardening. All the Indians, and thousands of years ago, they say it was documented. They used to hunt food, go on the Indians, especially like where we are here. We're in North America, and along the East Coast, the Indians would use whitewoods. We had whitewood. All right, so they use different species like hickory, whatever they grabbed, they had. And what they would do is when you cut the woods, and they used whatever they used, stone tools, hatchets, whatever they did to shape their bows, the wood was wet. So they would build the fire, and they say it's documented that they would lay the staves by the fire and let them dry out, okay? Basically, heat treating, okay? They're drying out. So from what I understand from watching the videos that these guys make, you know, you lay these by a fire and don't let it catch on fire. You have to really watch it. You know, you could have a workable, dependable bow in you know, a day even, all right, if you watch it, okay? So fire hardening and heat treating. Heat treating is like drying it out, okay? You can go back and forth. Fire hardening is actually cooking the wood. And what it does to the cells of the wood, it dries everything out, dries it all out, and it makes it, I guess, water repellent, which makes it denser, which increases the weight, which on a lot of these whitewood bows, when you would pull back a bow, if it was raw, you didn't treat it, it gets what you call scent. Kind of looks like it curves in towards you. It's just on the outside of the wood, the fibers expand. On the inside, the belly is the part that faces your belly, it's called. When the fibers compress, okay, they take a set, and that'll give it that shape that the limbs are facing you. When you fire harden them, what it does to the wood cells, makes them incredibly hard. And when you unstring the bow, you have less set because the cells, fibers of the wood are cooked. They become moisture resistant, they become harder, and I don't know all of the scientific reasons or terms. I tried looking it up, but I didn't even want to get into that because it would take a while to explain. But basically, you're cooking the wood, and doing that preserves, it changes the cells of the wood so they're water repellent and makes it stronger. It'll actually increase the pounds of your bow maybe by 10 pounds. So I have this down so it's floor tilted. Look, I got it floor tilted, right? I don't want to put too much pressure on it. Okay, we're going to put it, clamp it on a back set jig, which I have here. I'll show you the back set jig. Okay, and what that does is that bends the bow in the opposite direction of the set, and you will get a faster, harder hitting bow if you cook it on a back set jig. So like I said, this is a raw stave. This is a 66-inch bow. Out of the guys, Jack has a big long draw. His friend, neighbor Bobby has a big long draw. This was a shorter stave that I had to make because there was knots in the end of the limb. And it's 66 and it's fine. I'll be able to draw that back. My draw length is 26.5 plus. But what we're gonna do is have a moisture meter and we're gonna check the moisture content. It's reading 15 in the handle, okay? Just so you know, 15 in the handle. Ten and a half in the limbs. That's the moisture content. So we have those two numbers to look back at after we cook it. We're gonna weigh it. Okay, I have the scale here. This is the scale I use for meat. 1 pound, 8 1/4 ounces. So after we cook it, we're gonna see what it weighs and we're gonna check the moisture, okay? So I picked like the hottest day of the year. The thermometer always reads inaccurate underneath my awning, but it says 120. What a day to cook wood, right? All right, so I have two projects working today. I'm just sticking with this one for the video. I'm going to set it on the back set. I'm going to get the grill going and we're going to start cooking and I'll show you. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. A lot of these guys, what you see, right? I'm a regular guy, I got a house. A lot of people live in the suburbs. They build these big fire pits with cinder blocks, okay? We're going to do something a little different today. When we go outside, I'll show you. We're going to continue in a little while. Okay, we got the coals cooking. Got my two wooden 2x4 stands that I made the other day ready. And we're just going to have the back set jig just hanging on by angle irons and screws going into that 2x4. We're going to keep it simple. Going to make it so anybody who has a grill in their backyard, charcoal grill, can do this. Okay, it's 11:45. And they say you shouldn't be able to hold your hand under here too long. I may lower it a little bit more, just to give you a rough idea. Like 14, we're 15 inches above the coals. And I'll tell you what, the tape got really hot real fast. And we want it to cook. We don't want it just to dry, we want to cook it. So I'm going to put another screw a little lower. Okay, so I've seen how everybody heat treats their wood. Okay, they heat treat it and then they fire harden it. It's got to be lower to be fire hardened. I'm going to put screws in to lower it. But I'm trying to think, I don't want to dig a big pit I'm 65 years old. I don't want to drag cinder blocks. I don't want to dig trenches. So what I said, why not use what you got? You have a coal, a charcoal grill, heat the handle section first. Who cares if this isn't a contest to see who can do it the longest, the quickest. Even if I did it for 2 days, I'm going to heat this first for a couple hours. And then I'm going to move it to the limbs, and we're going to do the limbs. And I think it's going to work. Why wouldn't it work, right? Start with the thickest part first, let it dry out, and then move it to the ends. I figure it's a simple idea. So that's 15 inches to the coals. Can't really put my hand in there too long, but I think I'm going to lower it a little bit. I think I'm going to put screws maybe 2 inches lower, and then lower it down a little bit. Okay, I lowered it down a little bit more. I measured from the back of the handle, the back of the riser. It's 11 inches to the coals, and it's a little hotter. So it's cooking. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it go for a while, like an hour. I'm going to sit here and watch it, and then we're going to check out the coloration. I'm really not sure how low it's supposed to go, so we'll let it go like this for like a little bit. I'll check it out, and then maybe I'll have to lower it again, because I know for just heat treating, you want it a little higher, but for actually hardening, you want it down by the coals. So I'm trying to think, they usually do it like a cinder block high. That might be a little more than a cinder block high. But we're going to leave it and check it out. I don't want to overdo it right away. I'm just going to sit here and babysit the wood at the side of the pool. I'm underneath a canopy here. Got a cool drink. It is hot out. I'm going to let that go for a half an hour. It's only been in there for like 10 minutes in reality, because I just put it on 5 minutes later. I lowered it. It's only been on for 5 minutes. So I'm going to let it sit for a while, for at least a half hour, and I'm going to look and see if there's any color going on the bottom. If not, then we're going to really lower it and put it on the coals. Okay, now I have to watch it. We're getting serious. It was set up for a half hour, really didn't do much. Now let's see what we got it here. We got about 6 inches off the coal. So now we have to watch that this don't go on fire and that it starts cooking. We got to be careful with this. But that's the idea. We want to cook the wood. We want to cook it. So I'm going to be here watching it. All right. I have a bottle of water, so I don't have to go turn on the hose. If I have to put out a little fire, I'll just throw a little water on it and start again. Okay, this has been going for 45 minutes. Got to go a little longer. Okay, dropped it lower. It's 5 inches from the coals now. Okay, at 5 inches from the coal, it's starting to cook. Okay, I moved the coals away from the center to the edges a little bit, so it'll cook the limbs a little bit. And then we got to do each end after we're done with the middle, but it's going to be a long time. Added a few more coals. Got to really watch it. Okay, it's 1:30 and it's starting to brown to the outside of the limb a little bit here. If you look at that, the wood dried so much, it shrank so much from drying that the clamp fell off. Check it out. Okay, check out the brown, and it's starting to brown. But What I did was I just moved this on a diagonal so to cover a little more area. Okay, cooking some more. It's 2 o'clock, so I figured I'd heat that outer limb for a couple hours and see how it goes. As you can see, the jig goes up. I had that one on the lowest pin. I had that one on the second from the bottom pin. I'm going to put one just a little lower to even this out. So one more screw lower, and then we'll leave it. Okay, lower that end about 1 inch. Gonna let it cook for a while. Okay, I added a few more screws to change the angle. Put one a little higher over here and put one a little lower over here. And while I added the lower one here, I know I got to do the other limb. I put one lower over there too for the next setup. So that's it. Look, we're cooking. See what it looks like underneath. Cooking. Okay, let's see how it is. Getting brown. Still gotta go. I should have actually showed you this earlier, but the one side on the right that's been cooking for a while, the limb's really thin now. And the one was thicker over here, but it's cooking, so it's shrinking up too. It really thins everything out and dries it out. So we got another couple hours to go. I see there's some spots where once I kind of get this end going, I'm going to have to, you know, just move it around to make sure I cover all the areas. I put it up high for a minute to see what we could see on the belly. Right now it's like a heavy heat treating. It needs to go a little more to be fire hardened. Okay, well, this method does take a little longer, but you're able to do it in your backyard. You could also make yourself dinner. I got a burger on there cooking. All right, so we'll let you know what's done first. I think the burger will be done first. We're cooking hickory and we're cooking burgers. Delicious cheeseburger right off the grill. The hickory, well, that has to go a little longer. Not bad. Okay, I took it off for a minute so we can see where it needs to be treated. It needs to be treated here. I see there's a split here. Hopefully that split will be okay. And there's another split here. Hopefully that'll be okay too. So we're going to fire harden them. Hopefully when I tiller it, that split will come out. And the ends aren't fire hardened. So we'll have to work on that. We're heating up the final spots that were missed. And then I just got to do the tips. And right now, it's 20 after 5. We'll see what time I get done. Now I'm heating up the tips. Because we got the rest of the belly of the bow pretty browned, and after this gets browned, this tip, then I'm going to do the other side. Okay, this is the last tip. You know, you have a lot of ash with the coals, and you don't want the coals in the ash, so I pushed them all the way to the back. I pushed them out of the way, kept the nice good hot coals on an angle, from angle to angle, from corner to corner, to heat the wood up nice. And you just keep on pushing the ash out of the way. It's 5 to 7, and that last tip has to go a little longer. And what I may do is, once it's okay, and once I think it's okay, if there's coals left, just for the heck of it, I may put that middle section over them until they burn out. Well, it's done. What I would call a light fire hardening. It's a light fire hardening. It's more than heat treated, but it's a light fire hardening. Okay, So I just got the center handle just sitting over some coals there for a while I clean up and let it get a little more toasty. And that's it. It's 7:30 at night. I'll probably be done cleaning up in about 20 minutes. Okay, so we got this dark char here. It's cooked. It's definitely cooked. Tomorrow we're going to do a little sanding, put some string grooves in it, and we're going to try tillering it, see what happens. Okay, so this is the really quick stand I made, and just put a bunch of screws in, and you see on the back set board I just put 2 screws to hold these angle irons so I can remove them. I could just take them off, and then when I need them I can put them back on. And that's it. The next part of this video will be me hopefully pulling this back on a tillering jig and maybe taking a couple of shots with it. You have to see. Okay, see what happens tomorrow. Okay, we're in the house. It's 8 o'clock. We're going to weigh the stave. £1 pound, 5 ounces. 1 pound, 5 ounces. And let's check the moisture content. Reading 0 in the handle. Reading 0 in the limbs. 0 in the limbs. So that means that they say if it reads 0, it's less than 5%. So no moisture left in here at all. Feels very light. Really don't look that bad. Let me give you a close-up of it. Okay, look. These are the lines I was worried about. They're going to get tilled right out, I think. You got the tips and everything. All right. Okay, so tomorrow we're going to do a little tillering. A little sanding, a little tillering, and we'll see if we can get a string on this thing. Here I am the next day with the fire hardened hickory bow. Just want to show you a couple things. I drew 45s with a 45-degree angle down. I used a tile cutting saw, and I went down and cut a groove in there. Then I used a round rat tail file, aggressive, to make the deep cut. And I also took a chainsaw file to polish it up, and then I hit it with some sandpaper, because today is going to be tillering day with this bow. Okay, there's a couple other things I wanted to show you. This bow will have a shelf, okay. I didn't quite go to the midpoint, but you draw a line where, here's the center. Put my finger there, right? Above center is where the shelf is going to start. There's going to be, you know, above center here. Look, when you grab it with your hand, okay, you need a little space above your hand. And then you're going to draw a line from end to end. And I use a hacksaw, and I cut an angle. See the angle I cut? And that's so when I chisel this down, let me see if here's better this way. As I take a chisel with the point facing down, I'll chisel out these pieces of wood, and I will have a crowned area that I can rasp round. Okay, hopefully when it comes out, it'll be okay, and I will have it a radius sight window and a crowned shelf, okay? Crowned shelf, radius sight window, okay? The other thing we're going to do is just check the moisture on a moisture meter quick. Because actually that's what this is all about, okay? we have 9 on the moisture meter for the handle, 9. And we have 6. And 6 on the upper limb and 7 on the bottom limb. Okay, so that's all acceptable. Let's see what we got here for a back set. We have a back set of 3 inches. And what that 3 inches means that from tip to tip, there's a space 3 inches forward of the belly, okay? Now that'll always come down. We'll be just happy. We'll be happy if we get an even bow, but hopefully it'll be a little more, okay? All right, and it was fire hardened for a reason, to create harder cells so we don't have the bow with set and the limbs will look like this, like it's facing you. Okay, we want to try to eliminate set. You really never totally eliminate it sometimes, but we want to reduce it. If we didn't fire harden this, there'd be a lot of set. Okay, so I'm going to trim out this shelf here. I'll get back to you, and then we're going to start the tillering process. Okay, this multi-tool is the best tool I ever bought for sanding. It's absolutely incredible. A little noisy. I'll just show you what I'm doing here. I'm going around with this here, taking out any tool marks. I'm going to crown the shelf here. Okay, that's enough of the noise. Just wanted to show you what I'm doing. Let's check out the shelf, okay? I'm smart enough to take the advice of people who have done this before with these fire hardened bows, and instead they start off with this tillering stick here, and they only go down for a slight little flex, and they're going to correct any kind of twist before it gets too crazy. Okay, and I don't know if that's because the fibers are harder, or you want it to get it to flex sooner and even sooner. And what we're going to do is we use this yardstick that we have here. Okay, and we look at it, and we can see it's got more of a bend here and not much of a bend here, so you've got to take a little bit off here, okay? A little bit on the inside. Now let's check this one out over here. What we want to do is get them equal on both sides. It's always the goal. We have a bigger bend here and a little bit off of here. So very little bit we're going to take off there and there. Okay. What I'm going to do is use the cabinet scraper, take a little off and sand it. Slow and steady with this one. When I mark where it's not bending, I put some pencil marks. I don't know if you can see it or not. There's the camera. See the pencil marks? And what I do is I remove the pencil marks. I scrape off the pencil marks, do a little at a time. Also, what I realize is the top limb's bending more than the bottom limb. So once I remove the pencil marks, I'm going to go over the bottom limb a couple of strokes to try to even up the bend. Every time I remove wood, I round the edges. I round the edges on the belly. That's where I'm taking off the wood on the belly, and I'm rounding the edges. And the belly is the part that faces your belly. And the idea of rounding edges is supposed to help with the grain lift, so you don't have so much grain lift. Okay? I'm gonna touch it up a little bit and then put it back on. Okay, I'm not gonna go back every time I do it, but I just want to show you that I marked the ends with a fade out saw, so I have a line where to put the ruler. All right, some kind of guide. Okay, and then when I put this up here now, when I look at it, okay, and I'm looking at the bend, it's a little more symmetrical. I don't know if you can see this or not. It's going to be hard to hold it up, but look. You see, it's you want a mirror image, they say, so it's a little more symmetrical. Now the top one, I think the top one's the problem. We need a little more adjustments. So here's the line I put for the end of the fade out. Actually, that looks pretty good too. That looks pretty good. A little more I'm going to take gently off of the bottom. We want to try and do as much as we can do now. That's the recommendations, and that's what I'm going to follow. Okay, more of a bend here, less of a bend there. Okay, so it's going to take just a little bit, couple strokes off. Getting better. Okay, I'm not going far. I just want to exercise the limbs. Okay, and we got 27 pounds at 12 inches, 33 at 12 inches. That's actually a 14-inch draw, 33. And what I want is a 43-pound bow, so this fire hardening, really, I can feel the difference. Okay, let's get it down a little bit and look. Got to keep flexing it. All right. They're flexing really nice doing that early tillering, which I went back and forth a bunch of times. But I want to get these limbs used to bending. Okay, I think we're going to take off a little more material for weight. This is 36 pounds at the 16-inch draw. And we're going to remove a little weight off of each limb. And then I might go back to that tillering stick just to check it out. I went a few passes on the belt sander to remove some material. And look, if you look from the center out, you still got a pretty nice mirror image going on there from that early tillering. What changed up on this one here is it looks like we need a little bit more, just a little bit on the outer part here, just a tiny little bit on the outer part. Okay, a couple strokes on the outer part and I'll be back. Okay, not to get off track here, the main reason why we fire hardened this is to make the bow stronger and to reduce back set. And look at how it springs back after it's been fire hardened. All right, I've been tillering this and playing with it and taking off wood and flexing it, and look, it still comes back. We got nice back set. And that's the whole idea, to make a white wood perform a lot better than it would without back set. So there we go, we achieved our goal, and back to tillering. Okay, that early tillering really makes a difference. We got to work and exercise these limbs out so this fibers in the wood get used to going down. We got 33 pounds, almost 34 pounds at 15 inches. Checking out the tiller in there, looking pretty good. Once I get it down to like 20 inches, I should put a shorter string on it. Okay, we got 41 pounds at 20, which is 22 inches. I'm going to remove just a little bit of wood, and we're going to come back, and then I'm going to put a string on it. Yeah, string on. Okay, it has a 5-inch brace height, and I'm not going to flex it. I'm not going to tiller it yet. I want to show you what I did. I measured from the string groove to the fade out. To the fade out, I found the center. I marked the center. From the center over here, it's 5 inches. I did the same over here. It's 4.5. So we're going to remove some wood before we even do anything further. We're going to remove some wood and get this limb bending more like that before we even do anything. Okay, took me quite a few times to remove wood from the bottom limb, and I had marked the midpoints with a pencil mark, and finally got them from the inside of the mark to 4 3/4 each. They're even, believe it or not, and we're going to exercise it and see what we got. Okay, we've got 39 pounds at 26 inches. And what I'm going to do is just exercise it now. I'm not going to bore you with watching me exercise it. Then I'll get back to you. Maybe we'll take a couple of shots with it. After all the tillering, getting it to the draw weight I want, look at the limbs. Even though it's slight, we still maintain back set, which is great. Great, absolutely great that we have back set. I think it's time to set a knock and just take a couple of shots with it. Crazy hot and humid the past week, and I've neglected my chores. I got the lawn tractor out. When I get done playing, okay, I have to cut the weeds, because I really don't have much of a lawn. It's all weeds, but it's green. That's all I care about. So anyway, I got this bow finished, and look, after all that tillering and all, we have still maintained a slight back set, okay? And I went in after the last video, I shaped the handle for my grip. See in the back there? Thumbed down a little bit, cut it down a little bit there. Rounded the edges where my hand lays. Okay, and we're gonna string it up. Show you the tips quick again. See? The bottom's always rounded, right? The bottom's always a little rounded because it goes on the ground. So we're gonna string this up. And like I said, it's about 40 pounds, give or take. It's got a 6 3/4 inch brace height. I set the knock, got my tab. And that bear, you see the bear? That bear's maybe 15, 16 yards. First time shooting this. Not bad at all, not bad at all. Okay, now that deer in the back there is 20. Okay. Really not bad. And then that deer over on the right, that's 25. Let's check that one out. Hopefully I don't miss. Too tired to be digging in the grass. Just a hair low. I'm gonna take one more. Okay, try to be that shooting machine, elbow all the way back, keep your hand against your face, keep your arm up and on target even after you release, and let's go check it out. I'm really happy with this. This thing's really nice. Fire hardened, hickory stave, that went from a raw tree. It took me from 11 till 8 o'clock at night to clean up and finish. Fire hardening over a barbecue grill. And on that barbecue grill, I made myself dinner. I had a hamburger on that grill too while we were cooking. And the reason I made this video is a lot of guys, you know, I'm 65 years old. I don't want to dig fire pits and have cinder blocks and, you know, make this big trough to heat treat the wood. But the heat treating is a good idea. I don't want to wait 2 years to season wood. I may not be around in a week. Every morning I wake up, I'm grateful that I'm here. And let's go check out the targets. Okay, there's the bear. That's my first shot. I gotta be honest, every time I have a self bow and I shoot it for the first time, I am always a little nervous that it's gonna snap or something. But this is a great bow, absolutely great bow. So you see, there's the bear. Bear's about 15. Okay, there's the 20-yard deer. Okay, here's the 25-yard deer. Okay, first one was a little low, second one was right on. I put the point actually on top of the back. These are 29-inch arrows. They're 500 spine. They don't make them anymore. These are center shots, 29.5-inch with a 100-grain tip on them. And they seem to be flying pretty good. So remember, be grateful. Every morning you wake up is a good day. Try to get out and shoot, do something constructive. Okay, good karma, do good things. Watch my other videos on Bare Bow Joe. Not bad, man. I'm really, really happy. Now I gotta go cut the lawn. Weeds, whatever they are.